Here are 5 tips and things I wish I knew before my first busy season. If you like this video at all and you want to see more just like it, make sure to let me know down in the comments and like and subscribe down below. It really helps me reach out to other accounting students like yourself. Probably one of the most daunting things about Big Four is the amount of hours you're going to be working during your busy season. Truthfully, everyone's experience is going to be completely different. It's all going to depend on how complicated your client is, how specific your partner wants your documentation to be, and 3, how well the client chooses to work with you, the auditor. During your busy season, you should expect to be working through Monday through Saturday, around 50 to 60 hours on average per week. When things start to get really intense and you're towards the end of your audit, start to expect around 70 or even close to 80 hours a week. Working maybe 7 days a week. Thankfully, these intense 1 to 2 weeks usually last around at the end of the audit. So expect to be working 2 clients till the very brutal end. The amount of hours you work per week is also very dependent upon what kind of audit you're working in. Are you working in retail audit where you're working with pharmaceutical companies, retail and manufacturing, or are you working for financial services where you're auditing banks? From what I understand, financial services, the people who audit banks are working usually a lot more than the people who are on the retail side, like myself. As touched on before, you should expect to be working at least most Saturdays during your busy season time, which spans from the beginning of June to the end of March, typically. Typically, the Big Four likes to allot you your Sundays, unless you're on the final leg of the audit. Pro tip is, the quicker you accept that between January and March you're going to be working most if not every weekend, the easier it is going to be able to swallow that work that you need to do, and the faster you'll be able to get through this process. In reality, I maybe only worked about half of the weekends during my busy season. During the weekdays, I like to stay up late to get my test work done, because I want to be able to follow up with my clients and ask them questions the next day. That means if I'm working on the weekends, that's typically done for me to be able to kind of catch up on review notes and prepare for the next week. When I was working during the weekends, rarely was I working a full 8 hours. If I was working Saturday or Sunday, we're talking typically around 3 to 6 hours per day. And because I'm an early waker, I usually start working at around 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. and finishing around 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. About 4 hours of work each day, so I have the rest of the day for myself, the weekend. You'll hear how some clients are better than the others. This is because clients typically differ their approaches to auditors in one of 2 ways. Some clients will view the auditors as if one of their own teammates, whereas other clients will see auditors as a nuisance and find it cumbersome to take time out of their admittedly busy schedule to provide us auditors with work papers and explanations of their own business. It's fairly understandable why some clients will see auditors with disdain. I mean, how would you feel if someone came into your place of work, poked around your stuff, and then told you things that you did right and things that you did wrong and how you need to correct them? You're probably not going to respond to these people great, especially if they're questioning if you know how to do your job, without actually asking if they know how to do their job. Anyways, there's probably 3 types of clients you experience working for that I experienced during my busy season. The first client type would be the team player. They get you what you need promptly. They know how to communicate what they do very well to the auditors. They're super courteous to your team, and they're always down for a phone call or a meeting to discuss any questions you may have about their work. This was how my first busy season client was, and I gotta say, without a doubt, these are one of the best clients to work for. Things just work well when clients are willing to work with the auditors and don't see us as a nuisance or cumbersome. When clients are willing to work with you, the auditors, for the shared goal of getting this audit done promptly and correctly, then any issues that come up are typically a breeze because we're tackling them as a united front rather than divided. This definitely could translate into less late nights for your team and less weekend work as well. This could also mean getting the audit done sooner than expected. Now, this is a super rare case, but it does happen. The next type of clients are the clients that don't necessarily see the auditors as priority, not very responsive, but are still fairly courteous to you and your team. The audit may be more difficult because the clients aren't getting you all the stuff that you need in time or at the last minute, but at least they're still courteous and the door for communication is open to have things change if need be. To kind of explain to you what I'm talking about, I'm going to give you an example about one of the clients I've worked for. In this case, the client was super courteous, kind, and patient with us, but one of the client team members had a hard time trying to understand what we needed, how to get it to us, and why we needed them. As she would say in her own words, she didn't speak auditor. And to be frank with you, that's completely fine. Me only being 6 months into this job, I myself can say, yeah, speaking auditor is a tough language to speak. Although this woman was a pleasure to talk to and work with, We would discuss the same topic for weeks, making everyone frustrated because we will come out of the meeting the same way we went in, which was still confused and needing answers. Because of the client delays and confusion among the clients and the auditors, we were talking about longer nights to figure things out, more weekend work, and the last few weeks being complete chaos. They were nice and great people, but I think both sides can both agree that they're very glad that engagement is over for now. The last type of client that I experienced working for, and that which you may very well experience as well, is the kind of client that sees the auditors as a nuisance. I had one client that made it fairly clear that she didn't want us to be asking her many questions, and honestly didn't like the fact that we were there to audit them. This, of course, what I'm talking about is the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario where the client feels that they are okay with yelling and screaming at you through the phone, in person, or through email because you asked too many questions, aren't asking for things that are considered reasonable to them, and just don't like the fact that you are taking up resources and time that they would rather spend on their own business, which is understandable. However, whether they like it or not, it is the law that they do need to be audited by a public company, rather a third external party. These are probably the type of situations where Big Four employees complain about the most. You know, the ones where they're working until 2, 3 a.m. in the morning for like 2 weeks straight. Yeah, it's because of these clients, because they don't like to get us our stuff and will give it to us at the last minute and then not really answer our questions. It makes this situation and our jobs incredibly difficult. Let's say if you had 2 months to audit a company, typically a good audit would have the first 6 weeks be just, getting through a lot of the materials, and the last 2 weeks would be the cleanup work. Well, in these worst case scenarios, you have 6 weeks or 7 weeks fighting with the client to get the materials and documentation you need so you can do your test work, and the last week to really just do the rest of the audit. Because we're spending so much time and energy fighting with the client to have them give us the materials that we need, and then spending literally the last minute to do all the work that we need to do that we had 2 months to do, but now only can do it in 1 or 2 weeks. Well, these are the kind of situations where you see yourself staying up pretty late and working a lot of hours, because no matter how tough it may seem, you still gotta be professional and you still gotta perform, regardless of if the client wants to work with you or not. So to be frank, a lot of the time I felt pretty clueless in how to perform my test work and do the tasks that was assigned to me by my managers and seniors during the busy season. Before busy season, I had a lot more training and time to understand the context surrounding a lot of the test works I was performing. Plus, my seniors and managers had more time to kind of coach me through the tasks I was performing and help me kind of learn in this controlled environment. That was just a luxury I had because we had more time and we're doing less things in a longer amount of time. In contrast, busy season felt like a trial by fire kind of exercise or environment. There is so much going on at once for so many people and everyone's swamped with work. In turn, during the busy season, I felt a lot more confused, frustrated, and even isolated at times. It was just a lot more work of which I have never done before, and there was just a lot less people willing to take the time to kind of coach me through the process. So I kind of just had to learn by trial fire. You just have to kind of come in with the attitude that you know that you're not going to get it right the first time, and there are going to be lots of questions and review notes asking you what you did, why you do it that way, and what was your logic, when frankly a lot of the times you're like, I'm not sure what my logic was. So my tip is just do the work, make the mistakes, try and learn from them, and then do the test work again. It's frustrating because you're doing a lot of the same work you've done already and you're doing it again. But at the end of the day, hopefully you're learning from your mistakes so you can do it better the next time you see something like that. It's just during these times, a lot more people are busy, there's a lot more pressure involved, and your seniors and managers may not be as patient as they were with you before the busy season. It's tough, but coming out of the busy season, I feel a lot more knowledgeable and more ready and prepared to kind of tackle the challenges that will face me in the future. They always say pressure makes diamonds, right? Well, kind of in this situation as well. So it's no secret my first busy season was completely remote because of, so as a result, I did lose that personal touch, the personal ability, the ability to kind of flex my social muscles, because audit's such a team-heavy experience, but it's completely remote, so you're seeing the people a lot less. However, if you're lucky, like I was with one of my engagements, you will have a team that still try to prioritize team bonding and trying to get to know other team members better outside of just work. Since one of my engagement teams met almost every single day at 7 p.m., we took half an hour of this time to kind of just talk, goof around, and ask each other questions and get to know each other better outside work. Typically, I'm in meetings with the team or other clients talking about work for hours in a day, so it's such a breath of fresh air to talk to these coworkers about anything else other than work. One of the fun things my engagement teams did is that we had every night one of the team members ask a question to the entire audit team. Questions from like, what's your favorite movie, to what would be your last meal, to how will you survive an alien apocalypse. I had a lot of time working with these people, and it was one of those moments where it made me realize, you know what, I think I chose the correct career path for myself personally. I felt like it did a lot to build trust and develop cohesion within the team. So then when you're working on challenges and stuff like that, you kind of know this person on a professional level, but also a personal level as well. And there's benefits to that. So all my aspiring accounting professionals and current accounting professionals, don't be afraid to kind of talk to your associates and kind of just talk about anything else other than work to try and get them to know them on a personal level. Well, that's the end of the videos, guys. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something valuable. Let me know down in the comments below if you learned anything or nothing. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Ciao. Boom.